The NBA is quickly becoming one of the top sports in the US due to how entertaining it is and its success with fans. But just like any successful sport, it is filled with exhilarating and embarrassing moments, like the investigation into allegations about NBA referee Tim Donaghy. The moment was so embarrassing that the former NBA commissioner, David Stern, cringed, commenting, "We take our obligation to our fans in this matter very, very seriously. I can tell you that this is the most serious situation and worst situation that I have ever experienced either as a fan of the NBA, a lawyer for the NBA, or a commissioner of the NBA." Although that event was bad, it wasn't the worst because it stacks up to the top of this list. Want to know what the worst moment in the NBA is? Watch this video to the end because number 1 will leave your mouth wide open. Ready for the biggest NBA surprise of all time? Let's get into it. Number 7. Michael Jordan gambling issues. In a bid to be in the middle of the action, the NBA superstar was spotted in 1993 gambling in Atlantic City the night before the game against the Knicks. He admitted to losing $165,000 that night. A San Diego businessman claimed Michael Jordan owed him over $1.65 million. And a former teammate, Jay Williams, talked about how MJ used to bet $100,000 on a rock, paper, and scissors games. There's even a theory that his exit from the game to play baseball was also a suspension from the league office. But the league doesn't want any false notes on their greatest player of all time. This is forever going to be swept under the rug so as to not tarnish his legacy. Number 6. The gambling referee. Tim Donaghy was a referee for 13 years before he resigned in 2007 and then served 13 months in federal prison. He was caught up in a betting scandal in 2007 using his knowledge of referees, coaches, players, and owners to bet on professional basketball games. He was caught betting on games that he officiated during 2 seasons and pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges. He also received $30,000 to give insider information to the bookies. He made obvious effects on the game when the Lakers shot 27 free throws in a game once. The moment was so embarrassing that the former NBA commissioner David Stern cringed, commented, "I take our obligation to our fans in this matter very, very seriously. I can tell you that this is the most serious situation and worst situation that I have ever experienced either as a fan of the NBA, a lawyer for the NBA, or a commissioner of the NBA. David Stern. This scandal is definitely something that needs to be forgotten as it tarnished the refs in the league. Number 5. Donald Sterling owning a team. Donald Sterling told his girlfriend not to bring African Americans to his game. She recorded it and released the tape of him saying that and to stop posting pictures with them on her Instagram. This caused a huge dispute, and the African American he was talking about was Irving Magic Johnson. This caused a bunch of backlash from the fans, media, and even the players. The Clippers players considered sitting out of their Game 4 matchups against the Warriors in protest. Donald Sterling was eventually forced to sell his team $2 billion to Steve Ballmer. The league would rather want us to forget quickly that Sterling was never in power. Number 4. Magic Johnson's sudden retirement. At the prime of his career, at age 31, Magic Johnson suddenly retired from the NBA, shocking the world. But as it turned out, Johnson had tested positive for HIV. Though Johnson was dealing with a life-threatening disease, many wondered how in the world he contracted it if his wife tested negative. Untrue theories emerged about Johnson betting other men, and the most plausible explanation was that he was probably sleeping around without protection. The most embarrassing part about this incident is when Johnson returned to the NBA 6 years later, many players refused to play with him in fear of contracting the disease through sweat and cuts. Number 3. Len Bias Death. You've probably heard the story about Len Bias, who was the 2nd overall pick in 1986 that died after a drug overdose shortly after his selection. Bias was hyped as the next big thing for the Boston Celtics, and the team believed he would carry them to greatness the way Larry Bird did. Even Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski noted the only opposing players that had ever caught his eye were Michael Jordan and Len Bias. The reason this event was embarrassing for the NBA is that it exposed drug use in the league. The NBA had to reevaluate its roster of role models they promoted, cracking down hard on those who weren't good examples. It also hurt the sport because bias became the league's biggest what if. The incident also had a national impact, with a federal law passing that allowed drug dealers to be persecuted for overdose deaths. Number 2. The threat. In 2009, during his tenure with the Washington Wizards, Gilbert Arenas got into an argument with teammate Javarius Crittenton over a gambling debt. To ensure Crittenton understood the seriousness of the situation, Arenas brought unloaded guns to the team's locker room, leaving a note for Crittenton reading, "Pick one." Stern did not find the matter funny at all, commenting, "Although the actions of Mr. Arenas will ultimately result in a substantial suspension and perhaps worse, his ongoing conduct has led me to conclude that he is not currently fit to take the court in the NBA game," Stern said. "Accordingly, I am suspending Mr. Arenas indefinitely, without pay, effective immediately pending the completion of the investigation by the NBA." Crittenton didn't have it easy either afterward, and he is now serving 23 years for manslaughter after pleading guilty to charges that led to the 2011 death of an Atlanta woman. More embarrassing if you ask me. And number 1, the decision. No moment in NBA history was vainer than the decision, and it occurred on Stern's watch. When LeBron James became a free agent after the 2009-2010 season, ESPN broadcasted a TV special where the NBA star announced the team he was signing with. The announcement was not made until 30 minutes into the show when he revealed he was signing with the Miami Heat. James received plenty of backlash for the egotistic move, and the fact that he left his hometown team to play with a bona fide squad of stars did not help. James commented on the matter the following season, noting, "If I had to go back on it, I probably would do it a little bit different," James said, "but I'm happy with my decision." Stern was particularly unhappy with the way LeBron was treated after the incident, referring to Dan Gilbert's remarks about his departure from the Cavaliers. "He speaks as an owner of LeBron and not the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers," Stern noted, showing support for LeBron's decision to leave but not execution. "The performance was fine. His honesty and his integrity, I think, shined through. But this decision was ill-conceived." Many parodies of The Decision have been made, and the event ranks in pretty much every existing list of the NBA's most embarrassing moments. And that is it on the list. No other NBA surprising moments we didn't talk about? Leave those comments in the section below, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe for more amazing NBA videos from Ballers Bound. And until then, keep ballin', guys!